Special thanks, first of all, for Decentralized and the University of Nicosia for this amazing event. This year, my speech is going to be about blockchain in the legal practice, something that attracted my attention, my interest, at least for the last year, in order to examine how things are going in our practice as lawyers. So, first of all, I want to start by saying that for lawyers here, there is a very specific, very significant challenge. The first one is to understand the technology, to learn the technology, in order to be able to advise our clients. This is obvious. The second thing, the second part of the challenge, which is, I think, something unique in this case, is the fact that the potential of the technology is so significant that we want to learn how we can adopt the technology for ourselves, how we can adopt the technology in order to be able to make our services better in terms of quality, in terms of speed, in terms of cost. Now, what I see is that there are actually two ways of using blockchain technology in the legal practice. The first one, I name it as blockchain from lawyers, and the second one, blockchain for lawyers. In terms of the first one, what we have already seen happening out there is that there are a number of proof of concept applications, and I will explain some of them later on, of course, that show the benefits that we can get as service providers when we engage with the technology. And actually, I'm going to share with you what we have already done in this area as a law firm. The second one is a more radical, more revolutionary one, which is blockchain for lawyers, and in other words, how to use blockchain to reach lawyers, and how lawyers can use technology to reach clients in a legitimate way. I'm going to get back to this, of course, later on. Now, it is important to say that blockchain in the legal practice is not something new, all right? I mean, a simple search in the internet, and you will get numerous of results, numerous of great ideas how blockchain can be used in the legal practice. I've just picked up some of the key main examples here: intellectual property rights, land registries, and property deeds. Already Jeff mentioned something about this before. We've seen examples of using blockchain technology for know your client purposes, KYC purposes, anti-money laundering purposes. So many things, all right? Some of them, it's for sure that they will be part of our daily life at some time in the future. Some of them, I'm a bit concerned if it could find a place in the market. I've seen, for example, cases speaking about using blockchain for custody purposes, in the sense that they can track record criminal convictions, and they can share this around the world. Okay, it sounds a little bit scary for me, but anyway, this is something that we need to wait for the market to become more mature and see actual applications in practice. Of course, a new term is already out there, evidence law, which fits perfectly with the concept of blockchain. And here we're talking about authenticating evidence. In other words, for lawyers, it's apparently what we are looking for each time is to get the right piece of evidence in order to prove our case, in order to win the case. So evidence law is something that, blockchain is something that gives this extra element when it comes to evidence law, and many more applications, of course. Now, what we did as a law firm about a year ago, we started structuring how we can use blockchain technology in our daily practice. It's called blockchain share certificates. We decided to start with something simple in our eyes, in our view, because we wanted, if possible, all service providers in the corporate sector to be familiar with this subject. And what we're talking about here is that apart from print out the share certificate for our corporate clients, we also develop a digital copy. We upload this on Ethereum blockchain. It gets its unique fingerprint, and we email this to the shareholder. And from that time, the shareholder can share this digital copy with anyone he wants around the world. He can email this digital copy to any prospective buyer of the shares or to regulators, if we are talking about regulated entities, or to the bank for the purposes of pledge of shares, to do whatever he wants with his digital copy of his shares in his company. So the benefit from this, apparently, is that anyone who holds this share certificate in his or her computer can simply, in seconds, drag and drop the file in this interface down here. That's why we use the QR code in order to be redirected to this interface. So he drags and drops this in this interface, and he can get two possible results. The first one is that it's a green result, that this is valid. So everything is right with this share certificate. It is a valid one, or a red one, which says that it is invalid. And this means that either this share certificate has been previously revoked, or it has never been actually uploaded on Ethereum, because you can understand that easily each digital copy can be copied and shared without knowing which one is the authentic one. So in the end of the day, we simplified the procedure. We gave this opportunity to corporate clients to keep monitoring their company directly, and we open actually a channel of communication from anyone who is interested to know about these shares with the right person in the company who possess the knowledge of the status of the shares 24/7. Now, this of course is another proof of concept, and we started doing this in order to have something tangible and build on this with a second, a third edition, and this is something that we are working on it. Let's move to the other thing that I mentioned before, which I call as Uberizing the legal practice. It sounds strange, I know, using the word Uber for legal practice, because I'm sure that each of you now thinking that we are making lawyers taxi drivers. And I was very, very concerned before I come here and speak to you about this topic, because what attracted my interest in this one is something written by Professor Raymond Brescia, a New York lawyer and academic. So this is not my idea, it is his idea, back in 2016, with the difference that in his 100-page article about Uber for lawyers, he doesn't mention anything about blockchain, anything about technology. Apparently, it was too early to make the link between this subject and blockchain, but the reality is that whatever he describes in this article is so convincing that we can hardly escape this from our future reality. Because, before I say the reason, I was also very positively surprised seeing that the word Uberize is already in Cambridge Dictionary. So you can see that Uberize means to change the market for a service by introducing a different way of buying or using it, especially using mobile technology. And the conclusion of this article back in 2016 is that we are expecting Uber for lawyers to become a reality because it addresses some of the key challenges that are out there in the legal practice, which is certainty, reduction in costs, improvement of accessibility, and a sort of fine-tuning of matchmaking between the right lawyer to perform the job with the right client. So what we see here is that how it works is that you simply code your job, the job that you want a service provider to offer to you, and in seconds you get offers, you get responses from nearby lawyers. I don't know if that would be freelance lawyers, big, small law firms. It doesn't matter, anyone who is interested to perform this job for you. And in this article, it is mentioned that statistics show that roughly 75–80% of the requests for service from lawyers are for a sort of mainstream kind of services, talking about review or drafting legal contracts. They do not require physical presence in the court. So you can understand that these are services that they could be provided from home by anyone who is interested to spend some time in his own availability in order to perform the job for the client. And in order to explain why this is something that indeed looks very promising and looks that is coming, it is enough to go back a few months ago, in June 2019, the American Bar Association, in one of its reports, mentioned that virtual is the new law firm reality. And what happens in the USA at the time is that, and here are some statistics from LexisNexis, you can see that 4 cloud-based law firms in the US have experienced growth far exceeding that of the 400 largest US law firms. You can see some crazy numbers there, more than 1,000% growth the last 5 years. So the only question left going through all this is, all right, since this is something that, as I said before, we can hardly escape of it, is something missing from this recipe, let's say, in order to make this as a solid project, as a promising project, as a successful project? Well, already a lot of people mentioned in their speeches something about trust, which is absolutely correct. Nothing can happen unless the clients can show the required trust to the service provider, that the service provider has indeed the capacity, the credentials to perform the job for them. On the other side, it is true, and we have to say this, that also for lawyers, there should be trust on the client's side in order to get paid on time for the job that they perform. So we need definitely to generate trust while fostering innovation. And we need to make sure that blockchain technology, the features of this technology, will be utilized in this case in order to boost trust in such a case, in such platform, and trust in the providers. So it's a sort of control, audit, and oversight application of the technology in this case. And what I'm talking specifically is that using the technology, we can make sure that whoever participates in this platform has, first of all, license to perform legal services, to provide legal services. So we exclude unauthorized practice of law. We need to make sure, and this is a very key element in trust, that there is a sort of control when it comes to lawyers and when it comes to code of conduct and disciplinary machinery. So someone is looking after them and make sure that they perform the job in the right, in the appropriate way. Professional liability insurance, nobody can access this unless he has professional liability insurance covering any possible malpractice. Pricing is a very key element as well, because all of us want to take the right service at the right price without hidden fees, without hidden costs, et cetera, et cetera. So pricing is already there. You should pay whatever actually this project is valued. There is another point. I'm not sure if the technology is able to sort this out, but if technology can provide answer to this, it will be magnificent. Clients' reviews and testimonials. You know what is happening out there when it comes to clients' review. It's a very subjective point, issue. Everyone can write whatever they like. You can go to TripAdvisor and I like this hotel, I don't like this hotel, et cetera, and you cannot decide who is right and who is not. So if we find also, and maybe this is the last piece, if we find a solution to this, engaging the technology, then I think that you have a full recipe for success. And I say again that either we like it or not, either we believe in this kind of Uberizing the legal practice or not, it's not an option, it's not a choice for us. We have to live with this, and it is something that we definitely, and the statistics show that we will definitely experience this in the near future. Thank you very much.